an artist, and 20 years ago I was a scientist. And by the grace of God, I had a skiing accident, and I landed on my head. And I lost the use of my arm for 4 years. And my wonderful husband with the video camera today supported me. I started with finger painting. That's all I could do. And after the doctor told me I wouldn't type or write, and he'd already decided who I was, I called him 3 days later and said, what do I have to do to recover my arm? And he said, no, you don't understand. You've lost a lot of function. So he was a Feldenkrais teacher. And I devoted my next 4 years to recovering my arm and becoming a Feldenkrais teacher. And in that opportunity, I heard about living my unavowed dreams. And my dream was to be a singer. So I took myself to College of Marin, and I started studying to be a singer. And then I got into fiber art sculpture with Carol Beadle at College of Marin. And I started learning about how to take my personal journey through my fiber to tell my story. So this piece here is called Breaking Through. And she started because I am passionate about standing for others. And at the time, it was the summer of 2008, and I heard about these chickens that lived in these horrendous conditions in the battery cages. And so I started working with eggshells on vinyl. Wow. As a musician, I was interested in sound. I am interested in sound, and all my work reflects that. And what particularly is interesting about this piece is it's created with Velcro, so that when you tear it off, you hear sound. So when I create a piece, I put the materials in front of me and I start dialoguing with the materials. And as I was exploring the Velcro, I heard the sound of it peeling away from the vinyl, and that's when I knew what the piece was about. And the piece is about living in the presence of a human being who struggles with one of the most severe mental disorders called borderline personality. And this piece was all about me claiming my voice, really claiming my voice, not just being a singer, but really speaking for myself. And I wore this in a performance, and speaking of all that magic that occurs when we become intuitive about our work, I did not time it. And when I did the performance at the College of Marin, as I was pouring the eggshells out of my shoe, after having played Beethoven's Fifth on an air piano, the timer went off. Then I knew that, and this was in a pile, because this comes off like a crazy quilt. Oh, wow. For the entire piece. And of course, there were a few psychotherapists in the room watching the pile grow as I was peeling off the layers with a dance costume underneath, obviously. So that's the story. So I started out as a scientist and a teacher, and I'm very interested in teaching, and I teach Feldenkrais as a certified Feldenkrais teacher. I'm a musician, a performance artist, and a conceptual textile artist. And I'd like to talk to you now about my dream project called Project Green Runway, which started with my work, and I hope I can.
Oh no, you just.
How do I do? How do I do?
If you just click on the left side.
Click.
No, just where your thumb was.
Right here.
No, okay, other side. Sorry, just right here.
Oh, where did you like here?
Yeah, just.
Okay, got it. So that's the dress, and it talks about the take-home lessons, which, you know, are these poor creatures that live in cages. And I collected signatures that summer, and we got the Proposition 2 Standards for Confining Animals, a California law, which will go in full effect on January 1st of 2015, that will reduce the number of hens in battery cages. And my take-home lesson is, when you follow your concerns for Mother Nature, you heal yourself. That took me into getting interested in socio-political subjects. And when I did my research, after I heard about a trashing show that was going to take place in Seattle, Washington, I heard about Target giving away 1 million bags. And I said, I'm going to make a dress out of Target bags. So I made this beautiful house dress. The take-home lesson is that single-use plastic bags are costing retailers $4 billion annually. They are thrown into the landfills. They end up littering our streets and our landscape and oceans. There are multiple city and country ordinances now throughout the U.S. that are banning the plastic bags, and I'm just back from the plastics conference in San Rafael and got wind that that is soon to be the case in San Rafael, even though they've been threatened with a legal lawsuit if they do so. So I remember to bring your own bag when you shop. This piece is called Aim High, with the obvious intention to look at using the trash and having something positive to say about it. That took me to my love of ruffles. I love ruffles. I crochet and knit audio cassette tape in the form of crenellated forms in the oceans. And I obviously can't show everything. But this piece is called Slick because I had an interest in oil spill, even before it happened. So the hefty garden bags are made of polyethylene, and they are recyclable, but they are still a problem because most people fill them up with leaves and throw them away. So this is a dress that was created with heat fusion, which is what I'm going to be talking about next. So I got interested in heat, and I have this very kind of sarcastic sense of humor. And so I have, my parrot was almost dying, and I went to the vet, and I walked by a garage, and there were 4 bags of bubble wrap. And I had knocked on the door and said, can I have your bubble wrap? And he said yes, because I said, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to throw it away. So I started making dresses out of bubble wrap. And this one here is Some Like It Hot. If you go online on YouTube, you'll see my models wearing it, and she looks hot. Obviously, bubble wrap is popping, it is fun, it reduces stress, but it's classified as a class 7, which makes it truly unrecyclable. It's only reusable. So I encourage people to look at alternative packaging, unless you're going to reuse it. Now, in my journey of getting interested in caring about the planet and humans in it, I created this suit out of vinyl banners from Whole Foods Market, where I won the contest at Whole Foods and gave the money to my favorite nonprofit. And at that time, I wasn't a member of MOCA. I was at the O'Hanlon Art Center, so I gave them the $526.28. PVC is not recyclable. It is one of the most toxic materials on the planet, especially when you burn it. So obviously, when I made this suit, I didn't use heat fusion, because if I had, I would have released the phthalates and the dioxins, and that is very nasty stuff. It also does not float, and it is not possible to turn it into fuel, as the Clean Oceans Project, which you'll hear about next, is doing with other plastics, one of my sponsors for my community project. That is these people, called Project Green Runway. These are the models that are wearing all the pieces I've made thus to date. The take-home lesson is share your dream, empower others, enjoy the ride. And that takes me to the Clean Oceans Project. We have a gentleman, Jim Holm, who has created a machine that takes plastic, melts it into fuel, and has been run in a machine. And if you'd like to see it working, you can come to our trash and show that's going to be at the Marin Sanitary Service in the Environmental Classroom on June 16th from 4 to 6 p.m., where we'll have all of our models, including the people that we've connected to over in the East Bay from the LEAF conference related to the Earth team, and they're going to be making their outfits with us on May 26th, so I will miss the fundraiser at the Alger Book Show. Unfortunately, I can't be in three places. Yes. So we went to Earth Day Festival, and of course the paparazzi were there. We had at least 100 people taking photographs of us. We were interviewed with iGreen Networks television, and so the take-home lesson is that one woman can make a difference. That's myself, with a lot of support, including my friend Karen Mortensen, who's standing behind you. Janet is part of our team, Project Green Runway. And we got in connection with Envirolution, who is obviously the big Truckee eco art people up in Truckee on Earth Day Festival. And the take-home lesson is one woman can make a difference, one woman with the help of others makes a bigger difference, and one woman with the help of other organizations can move mountains. We have a projectgreenrunway.com website, which I developed. We also have a logo. And these are all our sponsors, including Rainbow Fabrics, Crafts and Things in Fairfax, where we have a place where we make our clothing on our weekly workshops, and we teach the kids how to use plastic in a creative way. We are also connected to seaturtles.org, who's been really raising awareness about the sea turtles, and I must tell you, that is where it all started for me when I heard that they eat those single-use plastic bags thinking they're jellyfish, and at the moment there's something like 80% loss of green sea turtles in the world. And I have a friend, Sandra Hans, who is from One World, One Voice, and she's making a huge difference with people all over the world, and she owns the company called IG Networks, which gave us a nice interview and photo shoot last at the Earth Day Festival. And Good Earth and Natural Foods is going to give us our free food and drink at our event. Red Vic, if you're familiar with them, they are connected to the Peace House in San Francisco. Wonderful people there. And Marin Sanitary Service, you probably know about Joe Gabarino, who started recycling in Marin, and he and his daughter Patty are taking it, the next level. So, thank you very much.
Yeah.